Hello, 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 everybody. Happy Saturday. Happy first day of May. I hope that everybody is doing fantastic, that you've had a great week. It has been quite the week for me. Between getting the COVID vaccine and adjusting to the side effects of that, and today being decision day 2021 for everybody who's got a high school senior, it's been a week. So I am just trying to process, and I have been really trying to recover and handle business this week as things kind of hit me. But I did want to go live today on Saturday. Hello, 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 whoever is out there, I see you. And talk a little bit about something based on what I talked about last week. So last week, if you did not see the live last week I was talking about how do you move from being an employee of your life to a boss of your life. And I gave 5 strategies, 5 practical tips on how you can do that. And if you didn't see it, go back and look at last week. And so this week, as I was reflecting on what I want to talk about this week, I realized based on your comments, and if you're out there, say hello to me so I know that you're there, that you can hear me, that you can see me, all the things. And I like to know who's out there and say hello to you. So if you're out there, say hello. And I want to thank everybody who commented last week because you shared with me some characteristics about what makes, hey, good morning, Amber. You actually shared some good comments with me last week about what makes a good boss. And seeing some of those comments helped me. Good morning, Donna. Seeing those comments last week really helped me think about, was I really thinking about every aspect and being as broad as I could and as comprehensive as I could about what really makes a good boss and how bosses in our professional lives, what kind of characteristics can we take away from them that we can then transfer and apply in our personal lives? And so there were 3 areas that kind of came up after last week. Good morning, Talani. 3 areas that kind of came up last week that I wanted to really kind of focus on today because I think they were important enough that I didn't want to overlook them. So thank you for your feedback. I listened to them. I watched them. So please interact with me while I share today. As you know, I won't be too long, maybe 10 minutes or so. Okay. So I want us to upgrade our thinking. That was number 1. I really feel like as women, we got to be real strategic about how we think about how we run our lives, right? I want to walk into my life. Yes, I know that God is my chairman. I know that God is my CEO, but I want to know that when I get directives from him, he is empowering me to walk through my life as a boss, right? And the only person that, well, I don't want to say the only person, but I am an employee to him, but I'm also, but I am the boss of the direction that I am taking my life based on my relationship with him, right? And so I was thinking about 3 more areas where bosses are, characteristics about them are super important. And if you think of any others, please feel free to share. Good bosses, they have integrity. All right. So we're going to talk about integrity in our personal lives and what that really looks like. Good bosses, they treat their people right. We're going to talk about how do you treat yourself right? How do you create that accountability as it relates to how you're treating yourself? And good bosses have great communication. And so those are 3 areas that we're going to talk about today. How do we take those characteristics that often, many times, we expect of our boss in our professional lives and use those characteristics and transfer those characteristics into our personal lives? All right. So the first thing I want you to do, again, we got to upgrade our thinking here. Think like a boss in your personal life. The first thing we got to do is when you start a job, a good boss is going to set out the standards. What's usually the first thing you get when you meet with HR on the first day of a new job? They say, hey, you're welcome to our company. We're so excited that you're here. And they usually have this thing, and it's probably like 6,000 pages. At least it feels like it's 6,000 pages, and they hand it to you. What is that thing that they hand to you? You could write it in the comments. What is that thing that you usually get on your first day on a new job that tells you what the standards are, what the expectations are for every employee? It tells you what's allowed, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. All right, y'all not talking to me, so I'm going to give you a little bit of help. It is that employee handbook. And let me tell you something. We as women, we need an employee handbook for our personal lives. What is acceptable to us? What is not acceptable to us? How do we allow ourselves to be treated physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually in our personal lives? Because what is in that employee handbook is going to outline those things that are acceptable. So we're going to start today. If you don't have a journal or pen and paper, get pen and paper, get a journal. We're going to talk about how do you write an employee manual for yourself, for your personal life, because every good business, every strong company starts first day one, before they tell you how to do the job, before you get the instructions, they give you an employee manual with what are the standards. So I want you, sis, I want you ladies out there to ask yourself, what are the standards that you have set for yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually on how you will treat yourself? Do you have one? Have you written it down? Have you thought about it? Because oftentimes I have found that we will not tolerate certain behaviors from other people that we will certainly tolerate from ourselves as it relates to ourselves. So I want you to think about that. What is acceptable? What are your boundaries? What do you allow? What will you not allow? How will you talk to yourself? Okay. What are the rules of engagement in terms of how you interact with yourself, how you speak to yourself, how you value yourself? Those are questions that we need to be asking ourselves in our personal lives that are equally important in terms of how we operate in our personal lives as they are in how we operate in our professional lives. So I want you to get that journal out. I want you to write down, this is what I will accept from me. This is the integrity that I want to have with myself. These are the promises that I will keep to myself. These are the ways that I choose to speak to myself. These are the ways that I choose to take care of myself. These are the ways that I choose to take care of me. I want you to think about that and write that down. Just the things that are coming to mind. I don't allow myself to speak to myself negatively. How about that? I don't allow myself to abuse my body by not moving it or not hydrating it or not feeding it healthily. I want you to think about those things because there are some areas of your life where you want to take more control. And I want you to think about, first of all, how are you willing? What kind of standards are you willing to set for yourself in terms of how you treat yourself? Think about your employee handbook. What's acceptable and what's not? All right. The second thing, how do you know if your boss really values you? How do you know if the job that you're on really appreciates what you're bringing to the table? I was thinking about that this morning. How do I know my boss values me? Now, there are usually a couple of ways that we know whether our boss values us. It's through pay and it's through the benefits package, right? We also know that, if they give us raises throughout the year or different things that they do to show us, hey, I value you. So I want you to think about, what does your benefits package look like to you? Do you have paid time? Do you have time off? Do you take vacations? What does your benefit package look to you? Do you have sick days? Do you respect yourself? Do you give yourselves little rewards, incentive rewards when you accomplish certain things? Are you complimenting yourself? These are things that good bosses do. I have managed large groups of folks, and I will tell you that I had to make deliberate efforts to make sure that we were doing performance reviews. And listen, if I wasn't evaluating raises on a regular basis, people were getting angry. We wanted to make sure that we gave vacation time, that we gave benefits. Those were important things. So I want you to think, as an employee of your life, as the boss of your life, are you giving yourself benefits? And what do those benefits look like? Now, the reason why we give benefits is because we value the employee. So oftentimes when I don't see benefits showing up in your life, I don't see those vacation days, I don't see those times off, I don't see those things, then I know that maybe you may not value what you're bringing to the table enough to reward yourself, to recognize that you deserve to be rewarded for what you're bringing to the table. So get your journal out, because I got some journal prompts for you. If you're not seeing the benefits in your life, if you don't see your benefits package looking like one that rewards you for what you do and for what you bring to the table and for who you are, then we need to work on that. We need to think about, how can we better value ourselves? So I want good journal prompt for that is, I bring value to the world by ... dot, dot, dot. Okay. I will no longer neglect these areas of my life, dot, dot, dot. I bring something to the table with my family, with my friends, and with myself. And this one that always gets people when they get stuck and they're like, I don't know how to answer those journal prompts, Naj, is my closest friends would describe me as dot, dot, dot. Because oftentimes your friends are going to see in you sometimes what you don't see. And so what are the things that your friends are saying about you? It's like, hey, Amber, you are just so compassionate, or, maybe you're always there. You're very loyal. These are characteristics that you want to be reminded of, the value that you bring into the world each and every day, because you are going to provide benefits to those things that you value. That's what good bosses do. They bring benefits and offer benefits to those that they value. So if you're having a hard time identifying the benefits that you're offering to yourself, then I want you to think about, maybe I need to sit down and think about the values that I bring myself. That's good, Amber. I see your boss consistently tells you she values and appreciates you, and why. So those are good things. Those are the same things you need to tell yourself and ask yourself. All right. And now the last thing that good bosses do, that I've heard time and time again when you guys were giving me comments, was that good bosses communicate clearly. So I'm going to ask you the hard question. How are you communicating with yourself? What kind of language are you using with yourself? Are you kind to yourself? Are you compassionate with yourself? Are you empathetic and understanding? Do you speak to yourself with respect? Because those are all the things that we are going to be expecting from a boss on the outside. So the boss on the inside of you, we want to have those same expectations. We want to upgrade our thoughts about what the boss of you should look like as well. And a lot of times I see that we as women, we don't communicate clearly with ourselves. So we'll say things like, if somebody asks us to do something, we'll say something like, yeah, I can't. When the truth of the matter is, I really don't want to. Just changing the language and being honest with ourselves about what it is that we really are saying is really important. Because if we're telling ourselves, well, I'm not doing it because I can't, but we really are not doing it because we don't want to, we're not being honest. And a good boss is going to have honest communication with you. So I want you to think about your communication and if it's misleading, because misleading communication will lead to misled outcomes. If your boss gives you some misleading information about what is expected, the outcome is going to be misled as well. So I want you to think about, how do you directly and honestly speak with yourself about what is going on? Get real clear about what you want. I want you to write that down. What is it that you want? What is it that you don't want? And be clear about why you want it or why you don't want it. So that could look like something like this. In the next 90 days, I want X. Now, here's the next part. And I am willing to give up Y or make Y changes to get it. In the next 90 days, I want X. That's being super clear. But the next part of that is, I am willing to give up Y, this, whatever that Y is for you. And I'm willing to make Y these particular changes to get it. A lot of times we're not honest and we're not clear. So I want you to first get honest with the communication with yourself, but then I want you to get real clear. In the next 90 days, this is what I want. And this is what I'm willing to change to get it. I want you to also get honest by saying, what have been your biggest challenges over the last 90 days? Okay, what have been your biggest challenges over the last 90 days? Write that in the journal. In the last 90 days, my biggest challenges to achieving X have been. But then I want you to write, and I need to make Y changes to overcome them. So again, you're getting clear, you're getting concise, and you're being specific and honest with communicating about what it is that you want. Clear, specific, honest. All right. So y'all, that's all I got for today. I told you I wasn't going to be long. Really, 3 very specific ways that you can take more practical control over not just being an employee in your life, but actually being the boss of your life. So I'm going to recap real quickly. a good employee, as a good employee, you're going to assess your benefits package. What benefits are you offering yourself? And if the benefits aren't good, then you got to say, do I really value me? And maybe you need to start journaling and reminding yourself about the ways that you value the ways that you value you. Second, good boss is going to give you an employee handbook that's going to spell out the standards of what's acceptable and what's not. Y'all, some things we are allowing to speak to ourselves, that we are allowing to happen in our lives, are not acceptable to us. And so we need to be real clear about our standards, about what's okay for me and what's not. Mentally, is this okay? Physically, is this okay? Emotionally, is this okay? Are these things that I'm allowing acceptable? Get clear about it and write it down. And last but not least, I want you to think about how you're communicating. You want your communication with yourself to be clear, to be specific, and be honest. So I hope you got something out of this today. Like I said, I don't like to go long on Saturdays. If you got anything out of it, or if you know that there's a woman, a friend of yours, somebody who you know could benefit from getting some tools on how to become a better boss to you in your life, like, comment, share, like, comment, share. That's how people find us. And I just appreciate you tuning in today. And I look forward to sharing more with you again next Saturday, if I don't sneak on here and go live before next Saturday. But nonetheless, I will be here next Saturday, even if it may be in between. So thank you so much, Donna, for sharing. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And I will catch you next time. Have a great day.